I'm Debbie Godfrey. Welcome to the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast.
Today's pep talk is about excessive supervision. And this is a culmination of the last 2 days of pep talks of a parent who's overly anxious and frightening the child. If you're an apprehensive parent, or apprehensive parents don't trust themselves or their child or the future, they're thinking only in terms of defense or prevention. And this leads to overactivity, over-involvement by the parent. And one of the things that happens is as the anxiety of the parents grows, their tendency to over-supervise the children grows too. And the kids never get to act independently. Every detail of their behavior is prescribed. Parents do this often because they're either unsure of themselves and not so capable of managing their own affairs, so they find it easier to get in and manage their children's affairs. So you hear stuff like, you better sit in this chair, put this book here, take this pen, wear this hat, don't eat so fast, sit up straight. The inexhaustible stock of parental commands is just endless. And so the child can't function. They can't make their own decisions. They can't figure things out. They can't learn to be responsible if every activity is supervised. So I'm actually going to read part of this story out of the book, The Challenge of Parenthood, because I love this little story. And there was a very busy mother, and she was constantly overmanaging her child. And a friend of hers said, how many times do you think you direct, command, criticize, or comment about your child's behavior every day? And the mom said, not that often. And so the friend said, well, why don't you give me an estimate? And she said, maybe 10 times. And I said, how about if it's about 100 or 200 times? She's like, oh no, I can't, I don't do it more than 10 or so times. And so the friend said, well, how about if I come over tomorrow for an hour and see how many times in an hour that you comment on what your child is doing, or criticize, or tell them what to do? And how many times do you think that would happen in an hour's period? And the mom said, 2 or 3 at the most. And the friend said, I think it's probably going to be 30 times. And she laughed and said, it's certainly not going to be that much. So the next day her friend came over, and I'm going to read this out. So I came. I was just sitting and watching what went on, counting loudly each time she told the child what to do or not to do. Despite the fact that she was conscious of my presence and reminded by my loud counting, the 30 times were exceeded in less than half an hour. She was simply unable to stop herself.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
So this is part of the problem, because kids who are constantly told what to do don't learn to think independently. They don't learn to problem solve. And so what you're doing is you're actually overburdening yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and read the last paragraph in this section because I find it so interesting. In order to grasp fully the absurdity of such supervision, we must bear in mind that educational influences have lasting value only when they make deep impressions on the child. One single but forceful experience, while it does not alter the disposition and character of a child, can provide a stimulus to new attitudes and approaches. Herein lies the value of educational acts. They give the child an occasion for thought and reflection. He must make a definite stand and draw conclusions. The development of his personality can be profoundly influenced by a few striking experiences tending in the same direction. And so what this says to me is, if we're consistently commenting on the child, let's say we're saying, get off the chair, get off the chair, get off the chair. We have to tell them 100 times a day to get off the chair. Evidently, they're not learning to stay off the chair. And what this paragraph is saying is perhaps 1 or 2 influential times of making a point to show them about getting off the chair will actually help to teach them. So instead of correcting them every single time, to go over one of the times when they're on a chair, pick them up and say, Johnny's going to learn never to ever get on the chair, and then take him outside and play Ring Around the Rosie, or do something that's impressionable. And the other times, figure out, observe, make observations, make commentary, but not correct, criticize, or command. Last part of this section here. Hence, Incessant efforts to influence the child make little impression. They cease to compel consideration and actually provoke opposition. The child becomes blunted to their effect and no longer pays any attention, since by their multiplicity they often contradict one another. He will either abandon all efforts at independent action or become sullen, unresponsive, and impudent. Only by rarely exerting educational influences can you be impressive and effective. So for today, notice all the times you want to command, criticize, and control, and instead observe and ask yourself, what do they really need here that could be helpful to them? Have a great day. Happy parenting.
Thank you so much for joining me here at the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast. I assume you're here because you're getting something out of these daily pep talks. And wouldn't it be great if more parents could hear more about these ideas for their children? And you can help me in a great way by liking the episodes, by sharing them on your social media, and especially by providing a review on your platform of choice. So if you could do me a huge favor and do that, it would really help get this out to many, many, many more parents. And we can all help our children feel more seen, heard, and understood, which is my life's work, is to make sure that all children feel loved and appreciated and that we can discipline them without breaking their spirit. So I hope that you've enjoyed these podcasts and will continue to enjoy them. And I really appreciate any support you can give me here at Positive Parenting Pep Talks. Thank you so much. Have a great day and happy parenting.